Hello, Saints Nation, and welcome to another episode of Maryville Talks. My name is AJ Fox, and I'm the manager of alumni relations here at Maryville. Today, with the holiday shopping season in full swing, we are going to be talking about some of the tech products that you might be preparing to purchase, have on your list, or potentially have in your home, and how to use those products safely and securely when you do get them. So to help me with that, we have three of our incredible cybersecurity alumni and current students. So Andrea Rodriguez is a senior cybersecurity student who is also minoring in application development. Caleb Noble is a year behind her, a junior cybersecurity student, also minoring in application development. And Mo Vasiliev is a 2020 graduate of the cybersecurity program, and he is an infrastructure security coordinator too with MTM. Thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So Andrea, before we actually talk about some of these tech products that folks may be looking at purchasing or getting ready to or have already purchased, with the pandemic, much more of the holiday shopping this year is going to be done online. And so let's talk about and start just on how to purchase some of these products safely in the variety of different ways that they're going to be, other than just picking them up off a store shelf this year.
So let's start off by talking about online shopping because most of us do it and it's like easy and fast. So the safest, you have to stick with the safest retailers like, let's say, Apple, Best Buy, those big things you hear all about. Amazon, and then just stick with those. Ensure you're buying with website that has HTTPS, which means your traffic is encrypted, but it might not be safe, but it's still encrypted. So just make sure that your website has that on the top. It's if you see a advertisement or something online and you're like, okay, this does not sound right or anything, just it probably isn't. Like, who's gonna sell a device or something really cheap? Like, that's just out of the picture of the box. Is just crazy.
Trust your gut on that one.
Yes, you have to be safe. Nothing's cheap in life.
True.
Don't buy. You can go.
Well, I was just going to say. So, are there sites that you shouldn't buy from? Do you three have recommendations? Are there places that are well known that maybe we should stay away from?
I would say obviously like sites such as Amazon, the big name sites, they're going to be reliable. They've built up this reputation for being secure, but stay away from those what would you call it? Like the too good to be true websites, like 75% off this, it's most likely to be a scam, but that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, just make sure that you don't scavenge the internet for too good to be true, as Andrea said. Prices on devices. Be careful when you purchase and order stuff from Alibaba. Usually, like you can get a great deal, but sometimes like you can get scammed. Of course, that's not the only site that you can get scammed, but make sure that you stick with what's known. Amazon has a great customer service. Even if they lose your package, like they're gonna reimburse, they're gonna help you out. Just make sure that you don't go outside of the realm of what you know, and just try to, I guess, leverage the best deal ever. Because, as Andrew said again, like if it's too good to be true, probably is.
It doesn't save any money if it compromises your credit card information. So,
yeah, absolutely. Or you don't get anything,
Right. So, Andrea, one of the ways that you might get a deal is to buy it secondhand or purchase it on things like Facebook Marketplace or from another person who may be upgrading their device and you're getting the last one that they had. So, talk to us super quick about some tips on how to make sure you're doing that safely.
So like if you're buying, like you said, a secondhand device, make sure if you're meeting the person, choose a public place. Like if you're meeting anyone in general, just choose a public place for the first time. Or share your location with someone for like those 30 minutes you're gonna meet someone, because you never know what people have planned or like anything. So if you're buying a phone, most phones have an IEMI, which is in International Mobile Equipment Identification, which is basically like something that make it's only unique to that phone. It's a 15-digit number unique to each device. To ensure, like you should ask the person, be like, oh, can I have this number, just so you could search it up on Google real quick. There's like websites where you could type in the 15-digit number and it'll tell you if it was blacklisted or not. Blacklisted devices are devices that have been reported that are stolen or lost. So if like the device is stolen or lost, um like if you want to take it to T-Mobile, AT&T, like Sprint, they're not going to be able to like give you service for that device because it's like stolen. Like they're not going to do that.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
if you buy a device that is blacklisted, essentially it's a really nice paperweight, and whatever you spent on it is money that's gone. Is that pretty much the case?
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of scary. And I did not know anything about the IMEI, but certainly it's a step that you definitely want to take, especially if you're putting a couple $100 into a phone. If it's been lost or reported stolen, and that would be certainly a reason that somebody might be wanting to sell it secondhand. Then it's basically all the risk is all yours if you don't take that extra step. So that's a great one to do.
Yeah.
Now, if I am buying or selling that device, if I'm selling my device, or if I do get another one, one thing I want to do is make sure I start fresh, right, and to completely wipe my data. And
Yeah.
is that a step that I need to take? Certainly, if I'm selling, but also if I'm purchasing.
Yeah, so like if you purchase a device, you should like clean it all, like make it like right out of the factory. So it should be clean. You should clean your iCloud if it's like an iPhone, and then you should clean like every other service that Android has. But like if you're selling it as well, you should sell it to the person like as a new phone, because they're going to be using it as a new phone. So yeah, I think we have some links under the description of the video to like take you through each step on how to clean your iPhone or your
Excellent.
Android device. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And Mo, we've been talking a little bit about mobile devices are kind of the most common things that we would need to do that for and wipe that data. So that takes us right into the mobile devices, which nearly everyone has. Some people have multiple ones of them, and we use them every day in every way. Many of us, they're never more than a few feet. Caleb's got his. I'm sure all the rest of us have our phones right here by our sides. So for a device that has is much of our life and has so much of our life on it. Talk to us about how we keep these safe.
So the best thing that you can do is follow a couple of simple steps. I don't believe that there's a device that is absolutely secure. What you can do is make yourself a very hard target. So whenever a threat actor wants to attack someone or wants to get in contact with some mobile device, they not choose you. Just putting those extra barriers. So the first one, pretty simple. All the phones have it. Most of us have enabled it, but it's important to mention biometric access. Using that fingerprint scanner, that face scanner. It's a great way to set up, for your phone. And of course, that doesn't come on its own. You have to set up some sort of like a combination or PIN code to access your phone as like a secondary access type. The best thing you can do is like use a passcode. You get a couple different options. You can use a pattern, you can use a PIN code, but the passcode is the best thing you can do since it has a variety of characters, lowercase, uppercase letters, numbers, special characters. It's not contained to a particular size, so you can have a pretty good password for it. Second thing, something that is not said enough, just like update. Whenever you see the pop-up, just hit that update button, or just set up for the same day, during the night when you're not using the phone. Best time to update your phone. Most often than not, those updates are for features, but also for security patches. They address particular vulnerability or bug found by security researchers. So the best thing you can do is just like make sure that your phone is updated to a latest version, so you don't come across any nasty known vulnerabilities.
And I think that was, that's something that's been so important that I've learned through interacting with our cybersecurity department is those patches aren't necessarily just things to keep your phone running smoothly or improve its function. They are many times, but they are also vulnerabilities that cybersecurity professionals like yourselves have figured out and then worked to fix. And so many of the vulnerabilities and infections that happen because people come upon instances that and viruses or kind of malware that has already been fixed, but they have not updated their device and included those patches. And so if you are always updated, you are going to be the most secure because wonderful folks like yourselves are fixing those things all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Control the controllable, and about the rest, there's nothing you can do in most cases. But what you can control, better do it.
So that keeps my device secure. But what if I'm like, how do I protect myself if I'm out in the world and kind of using it on a day-to-day basis?
Perfect. So a couple other controls that you can enable is just remember to disable your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Simple, just like 2 clicks and boom, like you've disabled them. So why you want to do this is the way that our devices are built is for them to connect to the nearest Wi-Fi hotspot. And if you're out, if you're using your 3G network or 4G, your phone just say, hey, this data too slow, or you don't want to use it all up, so they want to connect to the nearest Wi-Fi router. Well, that's good and dandy if all Wi-Fi's were like secure, or Wi-Fi's were just not malicious. It's very easy to set up Wi-Fi yourself. You just broadcast the network, and if your phone is set up to connect to the nearest Wi-Fi, and for instance, I can set up my own broadcast network, they can connect to me and I can see the traffic. Most cases it's encrypted, so I cannot see what's going on, but still in those instances, like you want to avoid that as much as possible. So just disable them, make sure that they're not on, make sure that you don't connect to public Wi-Fi's except in very major emergency situations, because most often than not, those are just not good to be connected to in the first place. Yeah.
And you had mentioned kind of charging via USB ports in different places, and talk a little bit about why that's dangerous.
So as I mentioned, connecting to anything, to public Wi-Fi is just not the best thing you can do for yourself. We absolutely urge you not to. The next thing is just, charging your phone. Like on airports, you see those USB ports that you can just plug in your phone and it's going to charge your battery. Well, that's good. And it's going to charge your battery. But that type of connection enables more than just charging capabilities for your phone. It also gives access to your phone, and to set up those little stations is not that difficult. So the best thing you can do is avoid it, or just avoid, just don't do it. Make sure that you use a regular outlet.
I was gonna say, you make sure you bring your wall charger with you.
Absolutely.
When you do, that makes sense. That was something that I didn't know, that of course, when you plug in via USB, even into your own car or any other device, your phone treats that as, oh, I'm not just getting power, I now have the ability to share things with this. It thinks it's a computer or some other data collection or transfer device. So that's a really important one. In terms of my phone or my mobile device, my tablets, is there software that I need to be downloading? Should I have antivirus or other types of programs on my phone?
So the best thing you can do is just know where to download your apps from. As far as security software goes, it's not that standard that you would looking for. The best thing you can do is just make sure that whenever you download an application on your phone, you download it from a reputable source, and you can narrow it down by just your primary marketplace. For instance, for my phone, it's an Android, so the best thing I can do is use a Google Marketplace. For iPhone users, it's different. It's um, what's it called?
The
Apple Store.
yeah, the Apple App
Apple
Store.
Store. Yeah, so it's different way of uploading those apps on those stores, but basically they go into particular stages where they approve the app. So best thing you can do is download an app from there. Don't download apps from third-party stores. Like jailbreak phones that jailbreak. They use the third-party stores, and then you get those fancy features. Well, once you jailbreak your phone, you narrow down, like you drop your security by so much, and you stop updating your phone. It's bad all the way. So don't jailbreak your phone, and don't download apps from a third-party source. The best thing you
So
can
it
do.
seems like that really gets back to kind of what Andrew was talking about with online shopping safety is rather than something that's going to protect you, the best thing that you can do is just stay where you know and where you can trust. And so, purchasing from those big name retailers that have the ability to do their own security and have
Yep.
confirmed and made sure that their processes and their payment systems are safe. Same thing you're saying is rather than an antivirus that's going to protect you, the most important thing is just download things onto your phone from trusted sources, because those app stores have gone through a process where they've confirmed that this
Yep.
is a mostly secure platform.
Yeah, and another thing to mention is just make sure to use password managers. Very easy to use. There are free ones. Best thing you can do is like use a password manager. Just set up one master password and store all your passwords in there. You don't have to worry about reusing the same password or changing a password by one number. Like once your account is compromised, for instance, on Amazon or eBay, they have your credentials. So the worst thing you can do is reuse your own password. So best thing you can do is use a password manager, store your passwords there, and yeah, just make sure that you're a hard target.
And can I, with most of those password managers, can I use them across multiple devices? So if I have a password manager on my phone, can I also get that as an app in like a web browser to use on my laptop? Will that is it kind of like a wallet that goes across all of my devices that makes it
Yeah.
easier? Is that the case?
So there's different options. The free option is a locally stored, meaning that if you are set up on your laptop, it's going to be only on your laptop. You have to go into like cloud. But anyway, other choice is iCloud Keychain, which Apple users can utilize. But basically, they have free versions like KeePass that maybe everyone should start with because it's like a free version. It just makes you kind of like aware of the capability of the password manager. So I would urge anyone to start using it.
And we'll make sure we put some links to some good password managers that you all recommend
Absolutely.
in the description of this video. So I've got my password manager. I've got my phone with some biometric security just in case it's lost or stolen at some point. Now, how do I make sure that that my applications themselves and all my accounts on there are secure, or that I know if someone is trying to kind of breach them?
So, I mean, there's so the vendor have gone smarter and they've started implementing multi-factor authentication. For instance, Gmail is the primary example. Whenever you set up your account nowadays, it's just what's your phone number. We're gonna send you a text message, so you got this like second factor authentication, which is great and all. But you have to kind of like pick and choose your options when it comes to those multi-factor authentication, best thing to do is use an application for this second factor authentication. Text is good, but whenever like SMS was built, like it did not come with the intention of being very secure. So just make sure if you use a second factor, if there's a capability provided by the service you're using for application that you are going to authenticate with, just go with that.
And so that's where, if I'm signing into my online banking, or if I'm signing in, like you said, Gmail, or if I'm signing in from a new device or something that's totally different, is that the code that they text me and say you have to enter this code before, it's secure?
Yeah, that's exactly that. That's the code that you enter to authenticate and log into your account. There's some apps that give you the option just approve from your phone. For instance, if the app is on your phone, just approve so you don't have to punch in any code. One app such is called Duo, and when enabled, you just have to press approve, and then you log in into your account on top of your password and username typed in.
So lastly, people may be looking at new devices this year. We always upgrade our phones at this time of year, right around the Thanksgiving, and we do that every couple of years. And so we're coming up to that. Are there any recommendations that you would have for people looking for devices, or looking to make sure that they're getting something that they can secure?
Yeah, pick something that you're comfortable with. If you're an Apple user, stick with Apple. So make sure that you don't buy too many of different vendors, because when it comes to like making sure they update, making sure that you set this and that, it comes like burdensome. It comes like a burden. It becomes like a chore. And like once it become a chore, like you don't expect anyone to do anything. So make it as easy on yourself as possible. Make sure that you buy from the same vendor. Make sure it's one of the big ones, because they can afford to update their phones, to build that security into the device itself. Just stick with what you know and make sure that you follow those best practices, and you should be good to go.
That's awesome. And it reminds me too of, like a gym membership, or, an exercise plan, or anything else that you want to have a commitment to. The biggest thing is just committing to doing it. And
yes.
Your cyber health, it seems like, is the same way, that, it's only simple steps, but you have to make sure that you actually set your phone to update and do those updates, and make sure that you are either using a password manager, which makes it super easy, or making sure you're using complex passwords, saving them properly, and making sure you've done all those tips and trips that you just walked us through.
Yep.
All right, Caleb, here's the big piece, right? So this is the exploding part of cybersecurity, and that is our IoT, or smart devices that people have in their homes, and then that network that they're all on. So we're all spending a lot more time at home this year, and we're all trying to make our lives more exciting, and also kind of more efficient and effective at home. And so a lot of that is trying to do it through automating or through connecting a lot of smart devices around our house. So they're called IoT devices. Can you explain to us what that means and what some of these devices are?
Yeah, absolutely. So IoT devices, okay? IoT stands for the Internet of Things, all right? And pretty much what these devices are, they're just smart devices that are made to make your life easier, okay? They're all connected to the internet. Some examples, the Amazon Echo, if you heard of that, Siri, Google, pretty much every big name company has like a little speaker now, that you can buy, like Google Nest, and not just speakers, but there's also other stuff. So like you can buy like smart locks now that can connect to your phone. You walk up to your door, you just wave your phone, and then like it unlocks, like Teslas, the same thing with the Tesla. You walk up to your car, unlocks with your phone. And even refrigerators, right? They have
Right,
like,
which is crazy.
yeah, like who's gonna use that, right? But there's some people out there who really they need their refrigerator to be smart, because when they go to the grocery store, they're lazy and they don't make a grocery list. So they go to the store, they're like, oh, forgot what I need. They just pull out their phone, there's cameras inside the fridge and you can see what you're missing. So just
that would be hugely helpful for me.
Right.
On a personal note, we do not have a smart refrigerator, but maybe in the future it's a place that we could invest in, because being able to do exactly that, do we need milk, and being able to answer that question in an instant. But so those devices are all in my home, right? And the thing that I can do is open a lock or look inside my refrigerator, turn on light bulbs, things like that. Do I really need to secure those devices? I mean, I don't have any interaction with them other than the function that they perform.
Yeah. Well, let's get this straight. Yeah, you definitely need to secure those. Not just for just privacy wise, because you can install all these webcams. Yeah, like these cameras in your house. The reason why those are installed in the first place is to make your home safer from just robbers or, burglars or whatever. But a lot of the time, if those aren't secure, they're just open to anyone. If they don't require any authentication, anyone can view those. So not only is it a thing where it's a privacy thing, because you don't want people looking into your house or your fridge for that matter, but it's also malicious. Hackers can use them as an entryway. Okay, so devices on the same network can see the traffic flowing, and pretty much the attackers can spot out vulnerabilities, and through those vulnerabilities they can navigate into the really important stuff, such as your passwords and important information, sensitive information about just.
So it seems like you're saying someone could use my light bulb as a doorway to get into my laptop or phone, which of course the light bulb doesn't do them any good. It just tells them whether or not it's on or off. But then if they have access to the traffic from my phone or my laptop and it's not encrypted, or they're able to intercept and possibly decrypt it, I don't know if that's a thing, but that's kind of scaring me a little bit, that these smart devices could be doorways to the devices that I think are secure, right? I've got antivirus, or I've got my phone protected, but it sounds like I'm only as protected as my weakest smart device.
That's right. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And Mo, I think you actually had a kind of a website. It was called Shodan or something like that, where you can view these vulnerabilities, these IoT devices that are don't have the proper authentications required to function properly.
Yeah. So in this case, we're just viewing some open cameras to the internet. Those do not require no credentials or nothing. It's pretty much just open to the public to go and view it. This parking lot, and you can go very granular into them, but yeah, it's not good.
So that's a website, Mo, where they just catalog all of these devices that Caleb has talked about that are open and available and vulnerable to be accessed anywhere by anyone in the world, just because they are, if they're connected to your home network, and then that is connected to the outside world. As long as that device is not protected, then someone can get in and get into your home network. Caleb, I don't want to be on the website that Mo just showed us. And so how do I keep myself from having my light bulbs betray me like that?
That's right. You don't want your groceries just viewed in public. So one thing you can do is secure your home network. Okay, you can do this by doing a few things. You can set up a guest Wi-Fi. So a lot of people don't set up a guest Wi-Fi, and the problem with that is if someone, you don't want to just give away your Wi-Fi password to just any Joe Schmo on the street. So setting up that guest Wi-Fi is very important, because you don't want you don't want anyone just having those administrative, what do you call it? It's just
capabilities.
Yeah, capabilities. That's the word I'm looking for.
So is a guest network exactly kind of what I'm thinking it is, where it's just kind of a, so I've got my main network here that me and my family are on, and then a guest network that if someone comes over, I can just give them access to that.
Yeah, pretty much. It limits the user to a lot to certain capabilities that an administrator may have. So and
Do I
yeah,
want to transfer my devices to that guest network? Is that where I want to have my IoT devices, or how should I set them up?
pretty much with your IoT devices, they're all under the same network. All right. Um, just setting up a guest Wi-Fi is something you can do to where your guests wouldn't have access to those devices, if that makes sense. It's all under the same network.
Yeah.
Mo, you got
And yeah, and if you allow me to kind of like add on to that, so your home network is basically every device can talk to each other. There's like a kind of like a little field where they can just talk to each other. So guest network, what the guest network in this case would do is just divide those laptops or mobile devices and your light bulb, like your smart light bulb and your smart lock in your home, like Google Home. And that way, even if like a malicious actor just gets access to one of your IoT devices, they cannot pivot and start poking around at your important devices. You just kind of like make sure that you have this extra barrier. So even if they get a chance to get on it, they cannot do much once they're there.
So set up my guest network, and then for my actual network, maybe keep my laptop and phones and tablets, things like that over there, and then set up a guest network. And as Caleb's mentioning, if people come over, certainly if you have a lot of people into your home, I know we're not necessarily doing that right now, but or if there's other uses that people might need for access to your network, give them that, and then also put over there anything that is not a main traffic source on your network, like your phone or your tablet. Is that the case to kind of Mo? That's the kind of division that you're talking about?
Yep, that's the division. You just want to make sure that you put as many barriers as you can.
And then Caleb, my router itself, do I need to do anything with that where my internet is actually coming out of, including setting up that guest network? But then, I actually just bought a new router not that long ago. What should I make sure that I've done?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So any all routers come with like a identification number. All right, it's called a SSID name, and then you get a password as well. Typically, a lot of these default router logins and passwords, they just admin. All right, that's all it is. So when you get these routers, you want to be sure to change those as soon as you can, because a thing some malicious attackers can do, they can look at that SSID name, track it back to the vendor wherever you got that router from, and they can find a way into your network. So you want to be sure to change that SSID name and your password credentials as well. So.
And then there are also some new products out there that talk about kind of doing this kind of scanning on your home network to look at traffic, or many of them promise to do different things. Do you have any recommendations on those? Are those worthwhile? Are they kind of too new, or is it something that the average person may or may not need in their house?
Yeah, definitely. So similar to like a firewall on your laptop, they got all sorts of products out there. Just some examples are Trend Micro and Norton 360 Deluxe. What these products can do, I know like Trend Micro, I don't know how specifically it hooks up, but you can like plug it into your router, and then you download this app on your phone, and you can see like the traffic and all that through your network. You can limit websites to your guests and all that. But pretty much having a network scanner is very beneficial to the security for your home, and in turn that'll protect your IoT devices within that network. So
So it sounds like it would just give you a sense of if there was anything out of the ordinary going on, or give you an alert that, hey, someone is in here bouncing between your light bulb and refrigerator and checking on the contents of what you're going to have for dinner later on this week. So in terms of what we're talking about today is, as people get prepared for this holiday season and might be shopping, I'm sure IoT devices are on everybody's list, or they're looking to add them into their homes. And so do you have any product recommendations or things that you should be looking out for as you go shopping for these?
Yeah, kind of like Andrea mentioned earlier, it's safer to stick with the name brand stuff. It's kind of like the opposite of like when you think of like clothing, you could just go to Goodwill, buy cheap, it's just as good as like, the name brand, what, like there's $70 t-shirts out there, right? It's not worth it. But in this scenario, these $70 t-shirts, those are worth it. Okay. You want the name brand stuff. Those brands that have already built up a reputation. Because if you just go like I said, if you buy if you're a penny pincher and you're going for a really cheap product, that company is unlikely to have the money to update their technology and all that. So I could just go on in a just rabbit hole about all that, but it's pretty much what I'm getting at. It's best to stick with the name brand stuff. And
So your home security devices, so basically your router, if you want a network scanner or some of these other things, make sure you're saying put the extra dollar if you've got it into the name brand product that might be a little more expensive, but has a track record or has a big company behind it, so that it's going to continue to be secured for the life of the device. And that it had a lot of development, and a lot of people like you all went into the planning and preparation and building of it.
Exactly. Well put. And also keep in mind that over time, all these IoT devices, this world of IoT is fairly new. It's 10 to 15-ish years old. And there's just been imagine a graph. All right. We got a graph exponential. Okay. These devices have grown quite a bit within the past 10 years alone. And over time, with more IoT devices coming out, there will be more standards released. All right. So these IoT devices will in the future, they'll have to follow these new standards. And in turn, that'll make them more secure and reliable. So yeah, the future is bright, I would say.
Yeah, and just as personal experience from going from maybe one smart device a few years ago to our home to many, many, many now. And as you mentioned, some of them can get kind of silly where you're looking inside your refrigerator, although that's a feature that I think would be very helpful personally again. But as I think Mo talked about, there are locks, and Caleb, you mentioned too, where you can actually physically gain access to a home or an automobile, or a safe with a smart device now. And so that is when it starts to get really bring it to the forefront, where if someone accesses your home network and is able to then unlock the doors of your home, that's where cybersecurity meets physical security in a very, very real way. So just making sure we do a lot of the tips and tricks that you guys have outlined today. The last piece here that I appreciate all the time and the insight that you provided is we're all at home right now, and a lot of us are working from home. Many people are doing some schooling from home, and a lot of that is involving laptops and Chromebooks that may not necessarily be at home. In fact, I have my entire desk set up that's normally at Maryville right here in my home and been working from it. So how do we make sure that we have security for those more kind of traditional devices that we think about, but that we're interacting with a lot more on our home networks now, our laptops, and especially for schooling, and some of the children are just browsing in those Chromebook areas?
Yeah, that makes sense. We need to touch base on that particular topic, since like those Chromebooks are given away to students to be used. So, for instance, one day I can get one of them, And then the next day, the same one that I use is going to be given to one of my classmates. And then the next day is going to be even different person taking it. So it's important for you to know how to use it, what to use it for, like just making sure that, you don't give too much, without reuse, like with those laptops being used by different people, you have to be aware of how much you can give, like how much you can browse, I guess, into it. You want to make sure that your usernames and credentials are not just left on the in the browsing history. The cookies. Make sure that you delete them after you are done using the computer. Make sure that you don't save no permanent passwords. Make sure that you don't log into your banking account if you're using a Chromebook. Just stuff that you don't think about but are quite important, because if I get it and I see a bunch of credentials, I'll be like, hey, like what's going on here? And if I have bad intentions, I can use it to leverage towards the user.
For sure. And if a lot of schools are kind of stretching those resources and trading in and out, I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, if it's a device that's being used by multiple people, or even if you're sharing with other people in your neighborhood or your apartment building, or I know that a lot of places technology resources are stretched thin, and so if it's not a device that you own, it's definitely you want to make sure that you control how much data you put on there. In terms of securing that device or securing my device, I think the biggest thing that people want to know is what type of antivirus program should I use? Are there any recommendations on how to do that and how to make sure you're secure there?
Well, Microsoft Defender has been getting bad rep, but since recent years, like we only see positive reviews and positive feedback from vendors and just regular people using it. Just once you have an antivirus, doesn't mean that you are bulletproof by any stretch of the imagination. It's good to have it, and a lot of people need to have it. It's more of like best practice again. Don't get into shady websites. Don't download stuff that you shouldn't download. Whenever you receive email from a prince, and where is it, like in Africa or in Asia or from South America or Europe, it doesn't matter where it is, like don't open it. Like
Goes back to
you will not get a big treasure. Just
goes
make
back to Andrea's, if it's too good to be true, right? Then
Yeah.
you can't trust it. And this is again where we come back to updating, right? All three of you would probably recommend that. Make sure, just like your phone and any other devices, that you have your computer set to auto update. I know it can bug you sometimes, but it's easy to do it. And that again is the biggest tool to making sure
Yeah.
that you're secure.
Yeah.
And we had talked about. Go ahead.
Yeah, just update it. Just update it as frequently as you can. Don't over stress about it. But once you see this pop up, you can also schedule the update, as I mentioned. Just schedule it for time that you're not using the device, and like you don't have to worry about waiting for the update to happen. And recent years, the device have been even better with how quick the updates are going into power. So.
And I think going back to the antivirus piece, I know that gives a lot of people peace of mind. Like Mo said, you should know that you're not bulletproof when you have that. But we'll also post in the description as well a couple of links to some great free antivirus software that can keep you protected. So I want to thank all of you so very much again. I hope that folks have found this, that they've taken away some information on both how they can safely shop for those devices, and then also many of us have these in our homes already or are going to be bringing even more into their homes during this holiday season. So I want to thank you all again. Anything that we've left off, anything that we've forgotten?
Yeah, have a safe holiday.
Excellent. Well, Andrea, Caleb, and Mo, I cannot thank you all again enough. Mo, so glad you're a member of the alumni family. Andrea, best of luck as you come
Thank
up
you.
to the end of your time with Maryville and the cybersecurity program. And Caleb, we're excited to have you for another year. And I hope everyone comes back as you consider schooling later on in life too. But for now, some members of our incredible cybersecurity team, thank you so much. As Mo said, have a wonderful holiday. Same to you out in Saints Nation. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.